What's up, guys? I am going to cover part 3 of the adrenal insufficiency recovery video. I'm just going to go over some supplements tonight. I'm not going to go over everything I'm taking because it's a lot. It's like 2 drawers full. So I'm basically going to go over just the things that I've added or kind of changed around that I wasn't using before, that I would, attribute to recovery, I guess you could say. So I won't go over all the other stuff that's not really related or that I was already taking. So right here we have, there we go. Those are the things I'm going to cover, and I'll go through them. First one here, magnesium glycinate. It's basically a really easily absorbed form. There's so many different forms of magnesium, and some of them do act a little bit different than others, so they're not all the same. I just wanted to make sure that I was getting a really highly absorbable form, and this works really well for me. So I was actually already using this, so I lied. I was using this, and I'm covering it anyhow. But I feel like magnesium is one of those for adrenal issues that's really important for the relaxing effects, and that it tends to be depleted. I'm not saying it is with me, but I just wanted to make sure that I was taking a good form of it. So that's what I'm using there. 400 milligrams a day. Take it at night. And then a couple of things I've noticed side effect wise, my digestion's been kind of funky, mainly diarrhea, things like that. And it's actually started to get better, which is good. So some of the things I'm doing are helping. But I changed a few things up. With the issue, sometimes there's bacterial issues that can be contributing to it and taxing the adrenals more. So I wanted to make sure that I was covering that. I had some weird kind of bloating. I wouldn't call it traditional bloating, but just kind of a fullness that I'm not used to, a little bit of uneasy feeling in the stomach, and like I said, the diarrhea. So I added in some olive leaf extract, and I'm looking to control yeast, candida, or candida. That's basically what that's for. I'm just taking 1 serving a day. Take that every day. It seems to be helping, like I said, because my digestion's got better, or in combination with everything else. So also for digestion, I changed up my digestive enzyme, and this is gonna be pretty traditional enzyme formula as far as what it contains, but it also contains some licorice root and some marshmallow extract, which are very soothing in the stomach and help basically soothe the stomach lining and make sure that that there's not damage going on there. Because really, with adrenal fatigue or it's adrenal insufficiency in my case, it's not necessarily just your adrenals. I mean, you have to understand that your HPA axis is also involved here. So there is a brain connection, and the gut-brain connection in general is very, very strong. And seeing as how my digestion was a little funky, I want to make sure that I'm covering my bases there, because that in general, if that's off, it just contributes to more brain fog, less, all that stuff, harder to concentrate and whatnot. So wanted to make sure that I was covering my bases there, and that added just a little extra element to the digestion portion. And then go down the line here, a couple things to help with my mood, just to help regulate sleep-wake cycle as well. L-Dopa, Dopa Mucuna, it's now brand. I take at least 1 serving a day. When I was on antidepressants for a long time, I noticed I responded really well to the dopamine drugs, stuff like Wellbutrin and that. So, and the doctor agrees that I'm probably somewhat dopamine deficient, and this issue is making it worse. My sleep-wake cycle being off and feeling like pretty much crap every morning. So that helps with the mood, helps with motivation, definitely. And I'm just taking 1 serving, usually one to 2 times a day, depending on the day, earlier in the day. And then adding to that, to help with that sleep-wake cycle, again, it's 5-HTP. Again, I This isn't something I recommend to everyone, but it does help with sleep, serotonin production, GABA production, being a precursor. So that is pretty helpful to me in the cycle and regulating my sleep cycle. It's very calming, helps relax you. And I'm not taking a very big dose. I'm most days about 100 milligrams if I'm having carbs, and then because that'll also boost that, and then 200 milligrams if not. And dosing on that's pretty wide variance. I mean, you could get effects at 50 milligrams, some people a lot higher than that. So that's what I'm using that for. And then a couple adaptogenic herbs. I'm sure most of you expected this one. So I always say it wrong, ashwagandha, I guess. It's probably my favorite adaptogenic herb. There's so many benefits. It's studied. You can find literature on it, and it is helpful to a lot of people, and not just for adrenal insufficiency, but just in general. It's just a really awesome herb. And there are obviously some pretty good effects for adrenal insufficiency, so that's why I'm taking that. And, just the whole adaptogenic thing, I mean, it's the name really says it all. You are adapting to the stress response, and there are some studies, or at least a study that I know of, that looks at some of these adaptogenic herbs and exposing, I believe they use mice probably, but exposing them to stress and measuring some different stress markers, like different protein kinase markers and some different inflammatory markers and stress markers, things, basically anything that would normally go up with stress. And they noticed that a lot of these herbs kind of stopped that effect, and that everything stayed regulated even though they were exposed to some pretty high stress during the period of the study. So that's cool. That shows that you're adapting to that stress, and the stress response is better, because essentially with adrenal insufficiency, your stress response is terrible. You have lost the ability to respond to stress, essentially, whether it be emotional, physical, mental, stress from training, whatever. So that is why those are so helpful. And the second one that I've added, Schizandra, it's extract, also same thing. And I noticed that one of the things on this is it gives you slightly sharper mental edge than the ashwagandha. It's just seems to help with the energy more so, I guess you could say. It's not that stimulatory, so it's not anything like that, but it does seem to help with the cognitive part of things a lot more and help with the mental stress a bit more, whereas the ashwagandha is more of a overall adaptogen. But I really like this, and it helps with my work and helps with concentration and making sure I'm keeping up with everything. So there's that. Ester C. I got the Ester C. It's easier on my stomach just because it's non-acidic, has some other bioflavonoids in it, which potentially be helpful. But vitamin C has a cool ability to help regulate adrenal function. And I know a lot of people will use it to lower cortisol, but it's actually going to help just regulate things in general. So my dose isn't super high. I'm getting some vitamin C in food and the two other supplements I'm going to show you. So right now I'm only using 1,000 milligrams additional a day, and I might bump that to 2,000. A lot of literature will show you around the 3,000 range is pretty good, but like I said, I'm getting it from some other sources, so I didn't go too crazy with this. And then the last two were recommendations from the doc to add. So we collaborated about some things, and they're more of a blended supplement. Biotics Research, ADHS, and ADB5+. Now, a lot of what's going on in here is there's multiple ingredients, and a lot of them are aimed towards making sure you're getting everything that could potentially be depleted during this adrenal insufficiency period. So you'll see a lot of vitamins and minerals on there, and those are common ones that are depleted. There's some additional vitamin C, some additional magnesium, zinc, which is another important one, some different B vitamins, things like that. And both formulas contain a few different versions of each. So you are making sure you're covering all your vitamin and mineral bases. And if I'm going over on them, I'm probably going to excrete them anyhow. It's not such a high dose that I'm going to cause any problems. A lot of them are water soluble anyhow, so it's not really that big of a deal. And then there's a blend of some other ingredients. The ADHS has some adaptogenic herbs in it. Mainly, that's what you're going to see in the other blends. So obviously, I kind of covered that and what that does. So that's what I'm doing there, and I'm just taking recommended dose of that product. And then the ADB5 Plus also has a couple adaptogenic herbs in it, but it also has some different ingredients, and I won't go into everything super deep, but has some different ingredients to help with hypothalamus and thalamus, and those are also involved in the whole axis. So that is cool. I really like the blends, and they're kind of a big blend, so if you want to look up the product, you can. But they, again, I'm taking I think it was 3 of those a day, and the dose was 2 to 3, something like that. So yeah, guys, those are the main things that I'm using. A lot of the things that I'm currently using, I was already using, so nothing new there. Like I said, paying attention to my gut health, my good probiotic and a good dose. All my workout supplements have basically stayed the same. I haven't really changed anything there. So I mean, if you guys have any questions about anything, I can cover something specific, but I think those are the main additions. And then I will be going back to the doctor, like I said, on the 1st, and I might have to add something else, take something away. We'll kind of see, but I know that my progesterone was kind of running on the low end, and pregnenolone and progesterone, pregnenolone specifically, is a precursor to a lot of the hormones when you're looking at adrenal insufficiency. So that may be something I'll have to supplement with, or progesterone. I know that there is a lot of positive benefits to those if you're low and you need it, and yes, even in men. So it would be a really low dose compared to something like a progesterone replacement for women that could be 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams, 3, 4, or whatever. Something like 20, 30, 40 milligrams maybe. So cream or oral. But we'll see. I'm not going to do that, even though I might benefit from it. I'm going to hold off on that. And then we'll see if the doc wants to go medication route. If things are coming up, that might be good. If not, we might have to go the hydrocortisone route orally for a bit to get things up a bit quicker. We'll kind of see. But, as just a general update, I would say that I am still subtly improving. I'm noticing some things like today I would say, not super early in the morning, but mid-morning to afternoon, I had a little bit more energy and better mood than I'd say I've had in a little while. So I didn't do anything different. Nothing that I can think of would have changed. Sleep, nothing the night before. So that's good. That's a good sign. Like I said, my digestion, the diarrhea has kind of started to subside. I would still say my stress response the last couple days has probably been a little bit better. I have so much stuff going on that I'm really trying to relax, with the gym opening and running, my current business, obviously, and just a lot of stuff on my plate. So I'm really trying to relax and making sure that every single night before bed, because I'm pretty much working up till bedtime, but I'm making sure that I sit down for at least 30 minutes, unwind, do nothing, just basically talk to Jerica, try to laugh a little bit, things like that, and unwind so I'm calm when I go to bed, and that does help. But that's it, guys. Still plugging away with training. I'll probably actually do another update on training, because I want to give a shout out to my buddy Alden, if I'm saying your name wrong, Rhino. So he helped me with some training programming, so I'm going to give him a shout out here because he definitely deserves it. He helped me out with a new template. I had some things in mind, and honestly, it was just more stress for me than anything to put anything on paper. And I'm like, hey, I've noticed what he does with auto-regulating programs and using percentages and RPs, and that's not necessarily everything we're doing, but just helping with that auto regulation. Right now I'm super sensitive to any type of training, so we got to be careful. But I gave him some thoughts. He threw together something that was basically exactly what was in my head. I didn't have to put anything on paper, and so I have a template I'm going off of. So that's really cool. I'll probably cover that a little more in depth as we go. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This we'll call this segment 3, and next time I'll probably come back with diet. I'm still working on some tweaks, and just emailed the doc about some things that I'm doing and making sure I'm getting everything in line. So that'll be next. Have a good night, guys.